Hello, hello. Welcome to today's live English lesson here on the Speak English with Vanessa YouTube channel. I'm Vanessa, and today we have something really special. I hope you're prepared. I hope you have a notebook with a pencil because we're going to talk about so many valuable topics today. This is a special Q&A, question and answer time. So last week, I asked you to ask me your questions, and I got a lot of questions. So I have organized your questions. We're going to talk about vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, some learning tip ideas, and some of you also asked more personal questions. Vanessa, how are you doing? These kinds of things. So I have a lot of pictures and videos and ideas and hopefully useful tips to share with you today. Take some time, take a deep breath, and because we're going to be focusing a lot on English. Thanks so much if you're joining me here live. If you're not live, don't worry. You can enjoy the replay and you'll certainly learn a lot. Those of you who are here live, hi from India. Hi, Roger in Brazil. Hello, hello. In Pakistan, welcome. Morocco, Sudan. In Korea, welcome. Vietnam. Thanks for joining me. Today, we're going to be taking a little bit longer than usual because this is my last live lesson on YouTube for a short time. So I'm not going to be leaving YouTube. I want to make sure that this is clear. There will be 2 videos, 2 new lessons every week. No problem, continuing for a long time. So I have been working hard to prepare and to schedule and to plan and imagine great lessons for you. And they're recorded videos that I've prepared for you. There's also some free PDF guides coming up, some new guides, and a lot of great information. So even though I won't be making live videos, there will still be a lot of lessons. And I hope that they'll be really useful to you. I'll be here reading comments, answering comments, trying to give you some feedback, but just not a live lesson because I'm going to be having a baby soon, pretty soon. And it will be nice to prepare my life and take a little break and, try to be the best mom and mother that I can be. So let's start with the first question. I've prepared a document with some pictures, some ideas. I've prepared some information. So we're going to take a look at that screen. I'm going to share my screen a lot today, and I hope it will help you to focus and follow the different questions. So let's take a look at my screen here. All right, so here you can see my screen. This is our first question today. How will we improve our English without you in this period? Raphael asks me. And I talked about this for a moment, but I just want to emphasize that there will be a lot of videos coming on this channel. I've been working hard to prepare them. There is a special series each month. So in July, we're going to be focusing on basic English, back to basics. So really building your foundation of English. And there will be idioms and expressions and ideas and tips. So stay here. You'll certainly learn a lot. And I will be in the comments. Let's go down to the second question. And those of you who are here live, if you have any questions for me that you would like to ask me, and I will try my best to answer live, feel free to ask me in the chat box, ask me in the comments below, and if I see your question and have a moment, I will answer it, certainly. The next question, these first couple questions are, as you can see here, personal questions. So they're questions about me or my personal experience. And Christine from Russia asks, what were your favorite subjects in school? So I want to ask you who are here with me, I want to ask you the same question. What were your favorite subjects in school? And while I was thinking about this question, I decided to look at an old hard drive from my computer and find some pictures from high school. Now, school in the US could be college, university, elementary school, high school, but I decided to think about high school. And I found some old pictures, so I'd like to share with you some of these pictures from my favorite memories in high school. Maybe their favorite subjects, we'll see. So down here, I have, these pictures are really old. They're from 2004. So that's why the quality is, of course, not like 2017. But my favorite subjects in school were not really the academic subjects. I enjoyed all of the other subjects. So I play the flute. This is me here. And I really loved playing in our school band. This is a smaller group. This isn't the full band, but this is a picture that I found yesterday. So I really loved playing music, being in the band, and just that kind of community feel. The next thing that I enjoyed in school was also not academic. And this was a theater group. So we performed, if you know Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling is an author, and he wrote short, funny stories. And we performed one of his short stories for a huge audience. And we won first place. So this is our group posing for our final picture together. And this kind of group activity was something that I really enjoyed because we all had something in common. Like the other picture, we like to play the flute, or we like to act and perform and memorize and pretend like we were, different characters. It was really interesting. And just to let you know, some of you are asking in the comments, will we hear you play the flute? The answer is yes, if you are part of the Fearless Fluency Club. So if you are part of my course, the Fearless Fluency Club, in a couple months, you're going to have to be patient, but in a couple months, one of the lesson sets is about music. It's biology and music mixed together. And I recorded myself playing the flute. So you'll be able to hear that in a little bit. Another activity that I liked a lot in high school was lunchtime. Also not academic, but this was me 12, 13 years ago. I was probably 15 years old, 16 years old maybe. And school lunches in the US are a time when you can just sit with your friends and enjoy relaxing. So it wasn't very academic, but enjoyable as well. Something else that I enjoyed was the extra activities. So this was a carnival, kind of like a festival. And in high school, this was 2014 or 2004, maybe 2005, probably 2004. And the senior class, so this is the oldest class in the high school, which was our class, we had a carnival, a festival, and we sold drinks and we played games, and a lot of younger kids bought tickets so we could save money for our senior trip. So this is a fun experience because I got to dress like a clown, as you can see, and my friend also was dressed like a clown, and we just did silly things. And finally, as a bonus, this is not related to school. So Christine from Russia, I know you asked about school subjects, but I wanted to share with you one of my favorite memories. As you know, I love watermelon. And this was the biggest watermelon that we have ever found. This is my dad. And this watermelon weighed, guess how much this watermelon weighed? It was huge. It weighed 18 kilograms. And guess how much we paid for it? Not $50, not $20, only $5. So we paid $5 for this 18-kilogram watermelon. And I'm a big fan of watermelon, and so is my dad. So this was really a special treat. So Christine, I hope that this helps to answer your question about what kind of subjects, what subjects I enjoyed in school. I think that academic subjects in high school for me were interesting if I was doing well, but if I wasn't doing well, then I didn't really enjoy it. But in college, so in university, that changed. I had more varied interests, and the professors and teachers were more my style. Let's go to the second question, or the next one. I just want to know, how did you learn a second language? How did you learn a second language? Oh, well, I'd like to share with you here in this document, you're going to be seeing a lot of pictures like this. This is a screenshot of a video. So if someone asked a question and I've already made a video about it, then I posted this video in the description. So below this live lesson, in the description on YouTube, there are a lot of links, including my language success story, how I learned French. So this is something that I've already talked about. How did I learn French? How was it successful? I also made another video about difficulties and maybe failures of learning other languages and why those didn't work for me. So I hope that you can enjoy that video and learn a lot from it. Before we go to the next question, I would like to answer some of your live questions. So let's come back here, and I saw a couple questions live that I'd like to answer. One of them asked, Tristiani asks, how can I make myself confident enough to join your group? Well, first of all, if you would like to join the Fearless Fluency Club, just go to speakenglishwithvanessa.com/fluency and you can learn a lot about it. But the purpose of this group is that you're not fluent yet. You're not 100% confident yet, so you're joining the course to learn more and to join other people who are on a similar path. Because if you're already perfect, then great, you don't need to do more. But really, I think everyone can do something to improve. So this is the method that I've tried to focus a lot of energy and effort on to help you. We have some other questions live. Some questions about my baby. All right, we're going to talk about that in just a second. Federica asks, is the baby kicking a lot in your tummy? Yes, nonstop. Nonstop. I think he's trying to get out from my stomach. So let's take a look at the next page, because the next page of questions are somewhat about that as well. And I have a couple more pictures to show you before we go to the vocabulary section. So first, our personal questions, then our vocabulary questions, then pronunciation and grammar and English tips. We've got a lot, so hang on. Okay, let's go to the next page. Marie asks, will you speak to your child in different languages? And for me, I can speak French, so it's something that is comfortable for me. It's not my native language, but it's comfortable for me. So to be honest, I haven't 100% decided how I'm gonna integrate French or even other languages that I don't know into my child's life. My first goal is to create a healthy child, then to give birth, and then to learn how to be a mother. So I still need to think about it. I'm curious, what do you all think? Those of you who are watching this video, do you think that it's helpful for a parent to help their child, their young child, maybe a baby, learn a second language? And there's no 100% correct answer about this. I'm curious, what's your opinion? Do you think that I should speak to my child in French? I should help them with French as a young child? What do you think? The next question is about the cards on the wall behind me. So I'll show you them in a second if you don't know what Rosa is talking about. Rosa asks, what are those cards on the wall behind you? So these cards, let's take a look really quick. These cards are here. These are some postcards that you all have sent to me just to say hi, maybe for New Year's, maybe for Christmas, or yeah, just to say hi, thanks. So these are from you all, and in the description of all my YouTube videos is my address. So if you would like to send me a postcard, I will put it on my wall and I'll enjoy it a lot. It's amazing. It's great to learn online, but when you have a physical connection, when you receive a physical card from someone else, it's like another level. It makes you realize that it's not just the internet. There are real people, and Vanessa's a real person who is getting your postcard. It's really cool. And of course, if you want to send other things, feel free. Millions of dollars, lots of cats, so no problem. But a postcard is something nice that you can send from your country. And I will show you my my address. It's also in the description of all the videos. This is my address here in the red box. So Vanessa Profi, P.O. Box 104, Asheville, North Carolina, 28802, USA. Let's go to the next question. Fabricio asks, when will the baby come? That is a great question, and I don't know because babies can come at any time. Well, my first recommendation is to watch. This video is in the description. To watch this video. Dan and I made a video 3 months ago called We're Having a Baby, Polite and Rude Questions to Ask a Pregnant Woman. So here we talk about some of the details of pregnancy and conversational ideas so that you can also learn English while learning some more about what's happening in my life. So I recommend watching that video, but if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. I know some of you have asked we have here a question about a baby shower. Are you gonna have a baby shower? This is a party when your friends come over and maybe you play some baby type games with your friends and they give you some baby presents. And actually, we decided not to have a baby shower, mainly because maybe it seems strange to you because I'm making videos on the internet, but I feel kind of uncomfortable being the center of attention with a lot of people and people just giving me presents. It feels a little bit strange. So we decided to have a party after the baby arrives. So maybe 1 month or 2 months, whenever we feel comfortable, we're gonna have a party to meet the baby. So our friends can come over and we'll have some cake and we'll have, you know, a good time meeting the baby instead of before the baby comes. And even though it's nice to receive baby presents before the baby comes, babies don't need too much. They're pretty basic. So after the baby comes, we'll have a kind of celebration with our friends. I saw some other questions about babies as well, just to make sure that while we're on the topic, I can answer that. Oh, yes. We have a question about what are you going to name your baby? So I will, if you are part of the Fearless Fluency Club, you will find out this week. We're going to have a little competition for members of the course. If you are not a member of the course, I will tell you after the baby is born. So not too long of a wait. The baby might be born around July 8th, but a healthy baby can be born 3 weeks early or 2 weeks late. So there's 1 month when the baby could be born. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what he wants. And also, a lot of you asked me, I didn't write it here, but a lot of you asked me, Vanessa, can we see your belly? Can we see what does it look like? And I have some good news. Yesterday, my friend, who is a professional photographer, his name is Davey Morgan. If you would like to have pictures from him, they're amazing. And we're really lucky that he's our friend. He took some pictures of Dan and I. So I'd like to share 2 of those with you. Let's take a look. All right, I'm going to share my screen so that you can see 2 pictures, which will include the first pictures of my child. Let's go to the other screen, and I'm going to share this picture. All right, here we have, oh, sorry, I need to take it to the next page. Here we have the first picture. So you can see the baby is growing nice and healthy. And actually, it's kind of strange because the rest of me is quite normal, but there is a basketball, which is a baby right there. There's also, let's take a look at one more from yesterday. This is a picture of Dan and I and our baby. This is at a place that's near our house. There's a public garden, and we went there, and our friend took pictures of us. It was really nice. But I think these kind of pictures, they're called maternity pictures. They are really common in the US. So when you're pregnant, it's really common to take pictures when you're engaged to be married, when you're married, when you're going to have a baby like this, and then after the baby's born. Some of you are asking, who is that with you? Well, that is my husband, Dan. It's not a strange guy who happens to be here. This is Dan, my husband, and the father of our baby. All right, so hopefully in a couple months, these pictures will be a little different, and there will be a baby in our arms instead. But for those of you who are asking, those are some pictures of my belly. All right, let's go back, and I believe we're almost okay, this is our final question before we get to vocabulary. Thank you for your patience. The final question, about kind of personal question, is about 3D animation. Jose asks, do you enjoy watching Disney, Pixar, or DreamWorks? What's your favorite? What's your opinion about them? Do you know anyone who works in the animation industry? So I want to know for you, those of you who are watching this video, what Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks movies do you love the most? What are your favorites? And for me, I think animation is a really interesting style of art. And when I was younger, we're looking at a lot of pictures today, but when I was younger, I loved one movie in particular. It was my favorite movie. I had stickers and clothes and a lot of different things based on this movie. And here, these clothes are not exactly from the movie, but this is me, this is my sister, and we loved The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid is Ariel. She lives in the ocean and she falls in love with a human. And I loved that movie so much that even though this is my real hair, my parents bought me a red wig. A wig is fake hair, W-I-G. They bought me a wig and I'm not wearing it in this picture, but I wore it almost every day because I loved The Little Mermaid, and we loved to wear fun clothes like this and just play. A lot of you who are here live say that you like Up, the movie Up. That is also an excellent movie. And even though I don't know anyone who's working in Disney or animating Pixar movies, I think this is really great. Some of you are asking, I didn't know you had a little sister. Yes. Well, now she's not so little. She's 27 years old, but you can see her on my YouTube channel. So you can visit or see my sister in a video about reverse culture shock. So here we're just playing dress up. We're wearing some fancy clothes, and maybe every day we played and we dressed and just had fun wearing fun clothes. If you have a little daughter, maybe you also know what that's like. But my child is going to be a boy, so we'll see. We'll see what that's like. All right, let's go on to vocabulary, because we've been talking a lot about just personal things, but I don't want you to be waiting for too long. So let's go to some vocabulary questions. And Nitish asks, how can we use the word grown? Grown. And here I wanted to give 2 sample sentences. And those of you who are here live, if you're watching the replay later, I challenge you to try to make your own sentences as well, using all of the concepts that we're going to talk about. How can you make a sentence using the word grown? So here in our first sentence, we're using it as an adjective. You are a grown man. You could say you are a tall man. You are a nice man. These are all adjectives. Grown means you're not a child. You're an adult. You are a grown man. Or we could use it like this. My cat isn't fully grown yet. She's still a kitten. So she's not an adult, or we could say a cat. She's not an adult cat. She is still a kitten. So we're using this word grown. Grown. We have some great comments using grown. I have grown a beautiful plant. Excellent. You're using this as a verb. So there's multiple ways. We can use it as an adjective. We can use it as a verb. I have grown a beautiful plant. Excellent. Let's go on to the next question. The next vocabulary question is, how can we use get? Oh, wonderful. There's so many ways to use get. And Heider's sample sentence is, now that I get to talk to you, I won't miss this opportunity. Get to talk. So there are almost endless ways to use get in English. So I just want to take a moment to let you know that this is a picture, but this link is in the description below the live lesson. There are a lot of videos on my channel about get. And if you go to YouTube and you go to my channel, of course, you can click in the description to find this page. But also, if you have another question and you're curious, I wonder if Vanessa already made a video about this. Well, there's a little search bar and you can type get, or you can type vocabulary, or you can type something else that you're curious about. And if there's a video about that topic, then you'll see it. So you'll be able to see similar type videos that you're curious about. So for this question, I recommend checking out some of these other get videos. That's a little YouTube trick. Let's go to the next vocabulary question. This is a great one from Donnie. Donnie asks, in some of your videos, you said, in my free ebook, you'll know what is the best path for you. Could you explain the difference between to know, to learn, to see, and to find out in this context? So here we've got 4 verbs that are quite similar. And I wrote 4 sentences that are exactly the same. I want to know how to speak English. I want to learn how to speak English. I want to see how to speak English. I want to find out how to speak English. And as you can see here, they're all the same, except to see. This one here is a little more direct. So these others are more general, but to see is going to be a little more direct. So I want to know, for those of you who are watching, can you make 2 sentences using two of these verbs? I want to know. I want to learn. And you can finish that sentence using these in a similar way. They all mean to learn something or to find out something. You're searching for information. So I hope that this will be useful just for expanding your vocabulary, because you probably already know those words, but if you know that they mean the same thing, then you'll be able to use them in different situations. All right, let's go to the next question about vocabulary. Actually, I've never received this question before, and I was pretty curious about how to explain it. So let's take a moment to talk about Victor's question. Can you explain why some people say, help someone do something, and other people say, help someone to do something? He says, the first one looks strange to me, even though I know that the sentence is correct, but I'm confused. So let's take a look at this quickly. And really, in English, if you've been studying English for a little while, you might know that sometimes rules don't apply. And this is one of those situations. I'm going to go see a movie, or I'm going to go to see a movie. In conversation, we are more likely to drop the to. I'm going to go see a movie. Can you help me do something instead of help me to do something? In conversation, we're more likely to drop that to, but it's certainly not wrong. So sometimes when we're writing, we will add it instead. So if this is something that's a new concept for you, I recommend as you're reading and as you're listening to people, try to think about the sentence structure, and if they're using to, if they're not using to, if they're dropping it, what that's like. So I hope that for you, it will just add to your sentence structures that you can use. Before we go to the next question, I'd like to come back here. Hello, everyone. And I'd like to answer any of your questions that are here live. We had a couple questions about Movies. Hyojin asks, how can I improve English through movies? And this is a great question. I think the first thing that you can do is to watch a movie that you already have watched in your native language. This way, you know the story, you know the general ideas. And for me, that's something that helped me a lot. When I was learning French at the very beginning, I watched almost every Disney movie because I really knew those Disney movies from my childhood. I watched almost every Disney movie in French. Sometimes I watched them with French subtitles and speaking in French, but really watching those movies again helped me to realize, oh, that's an expression that I've heard, but I didn't know I could use in that situation. So rewatching movies is a really good first step. And don't worry if you want to use English subtitles and also listen in English. Surrounding yourself with English is going to be great, especially if that's really challenging for you to watch movies. Don't worry about having as much English as possible, reading and listening, and trying to find stories that you already know about. This is the same for reading. If you've already read a book, read it in English. You'll learn a lot, I'm sure. Let's go to Samir's question. Can you recommend a good English to English dictionary? And honestly, nowadays for me, I use just the internet. So when I'm curious about a word, if some of you have any recommendations for physical dictionaries, go ahead. But if you want to look up a word that you're not sure about, you can type it into Google, and if your browser is in English, then English websites will come up. Dictionary.com is the most basic, and you'll see English definitions, sample sentences. Some dictionaries online will even show you famous quotes from other people using that word, maybe parts of books that use that word. So really use the internet as your dictionary too. You'll get a lot of information. Some people are saying, I use wordreference.com. Great. Or free dictionary app. Excellent. Lots of good choices here. Other people use word reference as well. Joao has a good question. Before we go back here, he asks, have you ever taken some courses to learn other languages, or did you only learn by yourself? I have done both. So for French, the language that I feel like I have successfully learned, and I'm always learning. There's a lot more I can learn, but that I have learned the most successfully. I started learning in a classroom. The other students weren't really interested in learning French, so I quit the class and I started to learn only with the teacher, one-on-one, and she was really generous and let me come to her office and ask her questions and try to talk with her. And when I moved to France, I also took classes 4 days a week. So I went to a class and my teacher was so amazing. I know that oftentimes classrooms can be boring and just not interactive, but this teacher, he's kind of my role model as a teacher. He really included the students. He used a lot of realistic ideas and sentences and situations. So in that situation, I did learn in a classroom and with the French family who I was living with. I tried to surround myself with it. And now I'm living in the US and I'm also participating in a French course online. So if you're learning French, I recommend it. You can go to Français Authentique. It looks like Français Authentique, but Français Authentique is a great website for learning French. And that's what I've used since I've lived in the US. I'm part of his course and learning a lot just through natural discussions. So that's been my short story about this. Let's go back to the questions. And I'd like to share with you some more vocabulary questions. Phrasal verbs. All right. Thank you, Marco, for this great question. Marco asks, when should I use help? And when should I use help out? They seem to be interchangeable. This is a great word, interchangeable. So which situations should I use which verb? Those of you who are here watching, can you make sentences with these? I want to know. Can you make sentences? So here I've got some samples. Help. We can use help in any situation, serious situations or non-serious, lighter situations. Can you help me carry this box? It's not a serious situation. It's just a light situation. Maybe the box is heavy, but this is a non-serious situation. Can you help me? But our next one, help me, I'm hurt. This sentence is probably more serious. There's probably some kind of emergency. So we can use help in both situations. But help out is generally for non-serious situations. Can you help me out with this homework question? Or Marco says, can you help me out with this problem? I could say, this box is too heavy. Can you help me out? This is great for lighter situations. If you're in the middle of the ocean, maybe not the middle, but if you're in the ocean and you can't get air and you need someone to help save you, you're not going to say, someone help me out. You're going to say, help me. So we need to use help out in these lighter situations. All right, let's go to the next question, but I'd like to read, we have a good sentence here. I want you to help me out to improve my English. Excellent. I can help you out. Vanessa, you helped me a lot with English. Excellent. Thank you for sharing sentences. And we have a good question. Fabio asks, why are we using out here? And you know what? Sometimes phrasal verbs are not literal. We're not talking about going outside or inside. This phrasal verb is using out, not literally. So really, it could be helping me to get out of a difficult situation. We could think about it like that, but it's not necessarily a literal thing. Let's go to our next section, which is pronunciation. So if any of you have any pronunciation questions, let's talk about them at this time. Matthew has a great question about ED and TH. All right, he says, how do Americans pronounce the ED ending plus the TH sound? So here we have some sample sentences. I changed the game. I called the doctor. And he says, if we say these sentences fast, what's the difference between them? And Matthew, I have some bad news. When we say them fast, there's no difference. So I'm going to say these sentences here. I changed the game. I called the doctor. I'm going to say them quickly, but I'm going to go back to my video so that you can see my mouth. I want you to see my lips and see how they're forming. When we use ED plus TH and we speak fast, like a native speaker, we often drop the ED sound, and it's going to sound exactly like the present tense. And I know that this is going to be frustrating and difficult to understand immediately when you're listening to someone or a TV show. Are they talking about past tense, present tense? But really, we only have context to help us in that specific situation. So let me say these two sentences. I'll say it slowly, and then I'll say it quickly. I changed the game. I called the doctor. This is slowly. You can hear the D, you can hear the TH. But if we say it quickly, I changed the game. I change the game. The ED, that D sound, is gone. And if I say the second sentence, I called the doctor. I called the doctor. Ooh, your tongue is kind of in that position to say the D, called the doctor, and no air is coming out, but sometimes we just drop it completely. So this is a great question. If you feel worried about listening to people, it's good to know. If you don't feel comfortable using it in that fast style yourself, don't worry about it. But if you know about it, then when you hear someone, it's gonna be easier for you to understand the context. Let's go back quickly to this screen, and I want to show you here on my YouTube channel and also in the comments or in the description below this video. There are 2 videos on my YouTube channel about ED, because there are multiple ways to pronounce ED. So there are 2 videos that you can study after this to help you with ED pronunciations. I recommend checking them out. Both of the links are in the description below this video. All right, let's go to the next pronunciation question. Erie has a great question about 3 words. Can you explain how to pronounce threaten, threatening, and threatened? I would appreciate it a lot. This is a beautifully kind expression. I would appreciate it a lot. Thanks for using that, Erie. I appreciate it. So here, we have a special situation. As you can tell by the color red, I highlighted this letter because something special happens to it in the middle. I want you to listen while I say these 3 words and try to guess what is happening to that middle T. Threaten, threatening, threatened. Oh, what happened to that T? Did you hear threaten, threatening, threaten? Did you hear a strong T? Probably not, because this T sound is swallowed. It's in my throat. So here we need to, if you can say the T, in some situations you're going to be speaking really clearly and you're going to be emphasizing really strongly. So this T, you could say it in some situations, but a lot of the time when we're speaking normally, it's going to be in your throat. So let's practice. I want to practice these 3 sentences together. Those of you who are here watching right now, exercise your pronunciation muscles, get them ready. We're going to practice these 3 sentences. The final one is an extra challenge sentence with 3 words. So let's practice having this T in your throat. Are you ready? I have a button on my shirt. You can imagine there's almost an apostrophe here. Button, button. I have a button on my shirt. Can you say this with me? I have a button on my shirt. What about this sentence? How do you imagine that we could pronounce this word? Have you gotten the package yet? Have you gotten the package yet? We can pretend it's not even there. Gotten, gotten. Have you gotten the package yet? And our final sentence. Let's combine all of these words together using lots of T's that are in your throats. In your throat. He had forgotten my threatening button. This sentence is a little crazy, but let's say this together and then I'm going to show you my mouth. I'll put the video back so that you can see my mouth. He had forgotten my threatening button. As we practiced here, in your mind, delete the T. Pretend that it's not even there. Let's go back to the video so that you can see my mouth. As I pronounce this, I want you to see what it's doing. And I'm going to take a look over here at the sentences. He had forgotten my threatening button. All right, I'm going to say this again. He had forgotten my threatening button. There's no air coming out. When you say a T, threatening, button. When you say a T, there's a lot of air that's coming out. But here, there's not. So make sure that when you say this word, if you want to say it quickly, it's going to be dropped. Thanks to all of you who are watching live. I really appreciate it. Let's go on to the next section of questions. We've got a lot of questions today, and I want to make sure I have enough time to answer all of them. And if you're here live and you want to talk about, or you have any other questions for me, feel free to ask, and I'll try to take some time. Let's go back to our questions. And the next section is grammar. Are you ready? Oh, I just dropped something. Don't mind that. The next section is grammar. So we have a great question from Moiso. Maybe that's how you say it. I'm not so sure. From Colombia. And he asks, I would like to know about reported speech and conditionals. I'm in the second semester now, but in the third, I'm going to see that topic. So he's in school and he wants to be prepared in advance. That's awesome. So it's my pleasure to help you in advance. Let's first talk about the second part of your question here. We've got a question about conditionals. Conditionals are if sentences. If I go to the store, I will buy cheese. If I were a boy, my life would be much different. These are conditionals. And to practice these, I have a video about could, would, and should that talks about some conditionals. And the link to this video is in the description. So I recommend checking that out. I'm not going to talk about it in this live video because you can check out this video. But let's talk about reported speech or passive speech, passive voice. We're going to be talking about this in much more detail later in the course, the Fearless Fluency Club. So if you're part of the course, we're going to be focusing on this in a couple months. It's going to be really something that we're going to master over that month. But let's take a look quickly at these two sentences. These are passive sentences. Does anyone know why? Why is this sentence a passive sentence? My car was made in 2006. My car was made in 2006. Why is this a passive sentence? Well, we have a little hint here that my car is the subject, or the second sentence, the city was destroyed. The underlined part is the subject. My car, the city. And the red part is our verb. My car was made. The city was destroyed. But the subject is not the one who's doing the action. The car didn't make itself. We're not living in the 3000s yet. It's still 2017. So my car didn't make itself. It was made by who? Who made this car? Mazda. Who destroyed the city? The enemy. So a good way to imagine reported speech or passive sentences is to notice, is the subject doing the action? And oftentimes the verb will include was. So we've got a special verb structure, was made, was destroyed. And maybe your sentence doesn't include this. Maybe this part is not in the sentence. My car was made in 2006. We don't know who made it. Maybe we don't care. Maybe it's not important. So we're noticing that this is reported. This is a passive sentence. The city was destroyed. Who destroyed the city? The enemy. So here we have a passive sentence. This is the subject not doing the action. All right. I want to see if any of you who are here live can you also make passive sentences? Oh, Gabrielle says the apple was eaten by the voracious worm. Wonderful. The apple was eaten. The apple is not eating itself. The worm, the voracious worm. Voracious is a great word to mean super hungry. So the worm is eating it. The apple was eaten by the voracious worm. The watermelon was eaten by Vanessa. Let's go to the next grammar point. Gabriella asks, Vanessa, could you explain to me what do all of these words mean? A friend of mine, a book of mine, a friend of yours, a car of yours. What does that mean? And those of you who are here, I want you to try to make a sentence using this kind of structure because it means the same thing as our second sentence here. A friend of mine told me about the movie. My friend told me about the movie. Both of these are the same. Now, in English, we are more likely to use this version. I know in a lot of other romantic languages, maybe in Portuguese or French or Italian or Spanish, you're more likely to use a construction that includes of. But in English, we often like to make it much shorter and just say my friend. But it's no problem to say a friend of mine. Make sure we're using mine, not a friend of me, not a friend of I, a friend of mine told me about the movie. Or you could say a teacher of mine taught me this lesson, or my teacher taught me this lesson. We're talking about two different ways to talk about ownership, something that is yours. We have some great sentences. This postcard was sent to me by a friend of mine. Great. This postcard was sent to me by a friend of mine. This postcard was sent to me by my friend. Great. Federica says, an old-time friend of mine lives in Canada. Great. Or my old-time friend lives in Canada. We've got lots of options. Rodwin says, this channel of yours is extremely beneficial. Excellent. I'm so glad, Rodwin. We could say this channel of yours is extremely beneficial, or your channel is extremely beneficial. Great. So I would like to know if any of these concepts are new for you. Maybe you've never thought about this kind of structure. After this lesson, take some time and write your own sentences. Do some research about it. This is a really quick explanation for these to help you feel comfortable. Let's go to our next question. When can I use ing or the infinitive to talk about purpose? So here's a specific question from Marco about when to use ing or an infinitive. And first of all, if you feel like there's a specific rule that's challenging for you, then it's good to know the rule, but I don't want it to stop you from progressing. So you don't feel like you need to master it before you watch a movie or before you write an email in English. I want to help you learn the general idea. So here, we have two options. So purpose. What is the purpose of the door? We've got two ways that we can talk about the purpose of the door. The door is for going into another room. If the beginning of our sentence is talking about the object, the door, the thing, the door is for going into another room. I open the door, I go to another room. The door is for going into another room. Or we could talk about the person. If the person is at the beginning of the sentence, I use the door to go into another room. I use the door to go into another room. Then we're going to need to use the infinitive, not ing. So let's have a little challenge here. I have 2 lines waiting for your sentences. What is the purpose of a smartphone? I want you to use these 2 sentence structures and talk about the purpose of a smartphone. So the smartphone is for what? What is a smartphone for? I use a smartphone to what? What are some sample sentences that we can use to use this concept? I'm gonna take a drink of water here. And I want you to think about how we can complete these sentences. All right, let's write our first sentence here. The purpose of a smartphone for communicating. Great. So let's say the phone is for communicating with other people. Great. So here we've got for communicating. We're using ing. How can we use that same sentence and talk about a person? A person. Gabriella says, I use Vanessa's channel to learn English. Great. Beautiful sentence structure. We could say, I use the phone to communicate with other people. A smartphone is for texting. Great sentence. Eliade, great. Smartphone is for texting. I use a smartphone to learn English. I use a smartphone to contact people. I use a smartphone to surf the internet. A smartphone is for watching your amazing videos, Vanessa. Oh, excellent. So we've got 2 different ways we can talk about purpose. And this is really advanced, so feel free to take some time later to write your own sentences, to think about how to make these in other situations. But don't stress about the grammar, just learn it and listen for it as you're using English. Let's talk about the next question. The next question is from Natasha in the Ukraine. The sentence, when you are gone, is really strange for me because I don't understand what grammar rule is suitable for it. Why don't we say when you are going or when you have gone? It looks like passive voice, but it's not. I will be very grateful if you explain it in your next video. Oh, this is a really polite sentence. Thank you, Natasha. I really like those polite expressions for asking for requests or suggestions or advice. That makes it so much nicer. So we've got some ideas here. And the main thing is that this word, gone. Gone is a key word that needs a be verb in front of it. Or it needs, we call this an auxiliary verb. We need an extra verb, have gone, are gone. Gone cannot be by itself. We can't say when you gone. So we need to use another verb in front of it. When you are gone, I feel lonely. When you leave, I feel lonely. These have the same meaning, but gone requires are. It requires that auxiliary verb. So I want to know, can you make a sentence? Can you finish this? When I'm gone, when Vanessa's gone, how will you feel? When I'm gone, oh, I will feel deeply sad. Gabrielle says, when you're gone, I will feel deeply sad. When you're gone, I will continue to learn English. Excellent. So we can make sure that we're adding this auxiliary in front. Let's go to the next grammar question. Oh, the next ones are English learning tips. Excellent. So for these, I have a lot of website suggestions. If you want to take any notes about these vocabulary or the websites, feel free to, but a lot of them are really easy to find on the internet. My first question is from Gabriella. How many words and tenses do you recommend for all English learners to learn so we're able to be fluent in English? How many verb tenses do I need to know? Well, first of all, let's take a look at this website. I typed into Google. You can type this too. I typed English verb tenses, and I found this website. Pretty simple. I found this website. Let me show you here. I'm going to share it on my screen. It has a list of verb tenses and then a list of how to use each one. And yes, these are pretty basic descriptions, but I would say if you want to be fluent, you need to have a good idea about how to use most verb tenses. You don't need to use them perfectly, but on this website, this is a good place to start. You can check out how they're used, the form, how they're used, and this will just give you a good basis. So if you want to be fluent, then yes, you need to be comfortable with all of the verb tenses. But if you want to speak English, if you want to be understood, you don't need to be perfect with all of them. So I recommend this is just a good resource. You can type into Google the same thing, English verb tenses, and take a look at it. Let's go to the next question about learning English. Could you explain in a video how to understand the news in English? Kevin, great question. It's frustrating because they combine so many words. Oh, I understand. Yes, they combine a lot of words, and this is normal when people are speaking quickly. So I have two recommendations. The first is a website called breakingnewsenglish.com. The second is newsinlevels.com. This is a good place to start because it's for English learners, but it's still real news. So you can see, here's a screenshot. You can see an article and you can click level 1, level 3, level 6, and the article will become more and more complex. And you can also listen to someone read the article in British English, in American English. You can check out vocabulary. This is a really good resource for, I use Breaking News English more than News in Levels, but feel free to check them both out. This is a really great resource for learning formal speech and learning about the news, because it's really great to learn about the news in other languages. So maybe you can get some real life ideas from other countries and compare it to the news in your country. But sometimes it is challenging. So I recommend starting with these two websites. Okay, let's go to the next question. On YouTube, this is probably not the person's real name, but their YouTube channel, they ask, is Y a vowel in English? Because Y is a vowel in French, but if you watch English videos, they never talk about Y as a vowel. So a good key for this is, let's look at the word sky. Sky. So sky has no A, E, I, O, U. These are vowels, A, E, I, O, U. These are typical vowels, but every word in English needs to have a vowel. So what's wrong with sky? Well, sometimes Y is a vowel. It's not a traditional vowel, but Y can be a vowel or it can be a consonant. So the quick answer is that it's kind of a vowel in English, but it's not one of the traditional vowels. So usually we don't talk about it as one of the top 5 vowels. Let's talk about his next question. Hair. This is a great question. Is hair plural or singular? I'm a bit confused because in French it is plural, but we never say my hairs in English. So let's take a look at these two sample sentences. And the first one, my hair is really long. My hair is really long. Is this talking about one hair? There's no S. There's no S here. Is it just one hair? Or am I talking about all of the hair on my head? Well, when we use my or your, these possessive words, his hair, then we don't use an S. His hair is short. His hair is curly. My hair is brown. My hair is really long. There's no S. But when we don't have a possessive, think about the second sentence here. There are a lot of hairs on the floor. So when you go to the hair cutter, you will see a lot of hair or hairs on the floor. We have two choices. We could say there is a lot of hair on the floor, or we could say there are a lot of hairs on the floor. So we've got two choices, two choices here. But when we're using a possessive, we need to forget about the S. The S is not there. Let's go to the next question. Ryan asks, I want to ask you about how to understand rude words in movies. All right, Ryan wants to know, how can I learn more bad words? Well, this website is pretty useful because it talks about all kinds of slang. UrbanDictionary.com. Well, I want to tell you something really quick about this website. So on this website, UrbanDictionary.com, you're going to find a lot of slang that hardly anyone uses. Most of the things on this website I have never heard of, and a lot of other people haven't heard of. So my recommendation is when you hear a slang word or maybe a bad word in English that you don't know what it is, type into the search bar of this website and it will give you a definition, and it'll probably give you some sample sentences, but I recommend not searching for other words on the website because most likely they're really unknown and anyone can add to this dictionary, so it's kind of free form. I could add something in the dictionary, and if you just use any word that you see on that website, most likely it's not common and people don't use it often, but there are common slang and bad words in this dictionary if you search for them. So I recommend using this as a good place to find current slang or maybe some strange words that you haven't heard, maybe that are new, or even bad words. There's a lot of stuff that you can find there. Let's go back and finish up with some of our questions. Himanshu asks, how can I join your Facebook group, Vanessa? Well, I have a private Facebook group, and I know some of you who are here live are part of this Facebook group. It is a lovely place, and the way you can join it is to be part of one of my courses. So I have two courses, the Fearless Fluency Club, which I've talked about, and also the 50 Natural English Expressions course. So you can go to my website, speakenglishwithvanessa.com, and /Speak English, or you can click on courses. And when you join a course, I will give you a link so that you can join the private Facebook group. In the Facebook group, we have live lessons. There's a lot of ways to meet friends from around the world. You can talk with them on Skype if you'd like. So this is the only way to join the Facebook group, is to be part of a course. Chloe has a good question. I need some study plan ideas for each week. Do you think that's a good idea? I want to know for you, for those of you who are here watching, do you have a study plan for each week? Do you plan what you're going to do with English? This day I'm going to watch this video. This day I'm going to listen to a podcast. This day I'm going to meet with my English friend. Do you have a study plan for each week? And some people like to have more structure. Some people like to just do it whenever they want and just learn English when they can. But for Chloe, because she's thinking about this and she's worried that maybe she needs more structure, I would recommend trying it. Because it's something that you're concerned you're doing wrong, try it, see if it works for you. And if it's too much structure or maybe too much stress because, oh, I forgot to watch the video today that's on my list. If it's too much stress, don't worry about it. But for some people, it could be really helpful to make a plan at the beginning of the week. This week, here are 3 English goals that I want to accomplish. I want to watch Vanessa's live video. I want to write 10 sentences. And you can make this kind of weekly plan and see if it works for you. Also, if you would like someone else to help you with this structure, this is something that is really good about courses. And for example, in the Fearless Fluency Club, in my course, I have monthly material. Every month, I give you new material. And in that material is a guide. So I give you a suggested study guide, and you can study week 1. Here's information. Week 2, here's the information. And this helps you to finish the material in 1 month and also to not feel too overwhelmed. So this is a good way to have someone else create the structure for you, but you can always create your own kind of plan using materials that you already use. Those of you who are here live, some of you said, there's things that I do every day, but I don't really have a specific plan. Delia says, no, I don't have a weekly plan. It's too complicated. Others say, yeah, sometimes I have a plan, sometimes I don't. Well, if you would like to create a plan, try it. If you would like me to help you create the plan, join the Fearless Fluency Club and follow that guide, the monthly guide. And if plans are not for you, you do what works best for you. Let's go back. I believe we have only one more question. So let's go back to our screen here. Zoe has a question about polite conversations. She asks, I would like to know what we need to pay attention to when we're talking to Americans. What's the topic we cannot discuss with them due to the cultural difference? And here I want to give you one topic that is definitely controversial. And if you would like more topics, there's a video that Dan and I made 2 years ago. Wow, a long time ago. And it's in the description of this lesson today about small talk, polite topics, rude topics. We talk about our opinions. But one that I want to talk about with you today is someone's body appearance. Talking about their eyes, their figure, their skin. You can talk about their clothing. Oh, that's a nice shirt. Oh, are those new shoes? Is that a new dress? No problem. You can talk about clothing, but talking about someone's body is usually uncomfortable. So let's take a look at 3 quick examples. The first one is, your eyes look tired today. Oh, this is too negative. I know in some cultures, it can be acceptable to talk about some negative things because maybe you're trying to ask them, are you okay? Why are you tired? But in the US, when you say, you look tired, or your eyes look tired, oh, your skin is kind of pale today, are you sick? Well, if they are not sick, then they're gonna feel pretty uncomfortable. So I recommend avoiding talking about their body appearance. What about something positive? If you say you're really slim, slim is the opposite of fat. If you say to someone, you're really slim, it's not a negative thing, it's a positive thing, but someone might feel uncomfortable because they don't know how to respond. Should they say, thank you? Should they say, oh, you too? It's kind of uncomfortable to know how to respond. And if you say something that is definitely positive, like your hair is beautiful, wow, your eyes are amazing, oh, this means that maybe you want to go on a date with that person. So if you want to go on a date with that person, great, you can say that. But if you are just trying to say something nice to them, this is probably not the right thing to say, because they will think, oh, are they romantically interested in me? My hair is beautiful. Well, thank you, but I don't know what else they're trying to say. So this is something I recommend avoiding, is talking about their physical body. You could talk about my hair clip. Maybe you like my hair clip. You could say, oh, Vanessa, that's a really cool hair clip. Great, no problem. This is just something nice, because I can say, oh, thanks, I like it too. But if you're going to talk about someone's physical appearance, their body, they might feel a little uncomfortable. So this is my quick tip about small talk. Feel free to check out the video in the description so that you can get more details about that. And I want to know for you, what are some topics that are uncomfortable in small talk? What shouldn't you talk about? And even though some people say you shouldn't talk about politics or religion or relationships, a lot of people do talk about that. So it just depends on your situation and how you talk about it. But bodily appearance is one thing that definitely is uncomfortable for both men and women. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking your time. We talked today for, I think an hour and a half. I'm quite thirsty. So I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you for all of your wonderful questions. Thank you for your patience. I hope that you could learn a lot, and feel free to use all of these extra videos that are in the description to continue to learn. And I will continue to be making videos, be sharing information. If you are receiving my free email lessons, I will continue to send you email lessons 2 times a week. If you would like to get these email lessons, all you need to do is download my free ebook, 5 Steps to Becoming a Confident English Speaker. In this ebook, you will learn, you'll find out, you'll see, you'll know what is the best path for you as you're progressing in English. So I recommend reading the free ebook. The link is in the description, and it'll be on the screen at the end. And I want to help you to continue to learn English. I will be reading your comments. I'll be giving feedback. But our live lessons are going to take a little break, because my baby is getting ready. He is growing day by day. I'm growing day by day. So thank you, everyone, for your support. Thanks for your kind words. And I hope that the next videos on my YouTube channel are going to be extra special for you. I've prepared them, scheduled them, recorded them just for you. So I hope that you'll enjoy them and continue to learn English with me. I'm not going away, just not having live lessons. So I will continue to be here on my YouTube channel. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time, your energy, and effort. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you the next time. Bye.